Welcome back to the Classy and Tea show. I'm your girl, Erica.
And I'm your girl, Tamika.
And today we have a very special guest, my mother, published author and motivational speaker, Debora Marion. Hi, Mom.
Hi. Welcome.
Guys, she's tuning in all the way from South Korea.
Woohoo. All the way from Korea.
We have an exciting topic for you guys tonight. Mika, let them know what we're talking about. Let them know.
So today's topic is healthy versus unhealthy jealousy. Okay? Something that we usually don't talk about, right? It's one of those things exactly, because I think everybody thinks when they look at the word jealousy, they automatically assume negative across the board. And so it has a huge negative connotation to it. But there are some healthy versions of jealousy.
Yes.
So that's why we're so happy to have Mrs. Marion on today, because she is going to assist us with giving us exactly what it means to be healthy versus unhealthy. And we're not only just going to talk about this topic, we're going to help with some solutions.
Yes.
If you have unhealthy jealousy, we're going to... Exactly. We're going to assist you with getting rid of it, how to overcome it, because we talk about it, but nobody says, I guess people just generally say, well, girl, just get over it. Stop being jealous. But can you just stop? Or is there some inner healing that needs to take place, Miss Marion?
Absolutely. I think that before we get to the inner healing, let's kind of do an overview of what jealousy, what toxic jealousy is.
Yes.
I think that when we look at toxic jealousy, or what we call bad jealousy, we have to think about what James 4:1-2 says.
Mm-hmm.
When we look at what it says in James, it says that this toxic jealousy can cause quarrels, fights.
Mm-hmm.
It can even lead to murder, either murder of someone's reputation or their physical life. And we know that when people are operating out of what we call toxic jealousy or bad jealousy that's not healthy, unhealthy jealousy, they honestly just do not know how to ask for what they want.
Right.
They don't know who to ask.
Mm-hmm.
And so we have to before we look at the deep-rooted or seated reason for the jealousy, let's kind of give an overview of what it looks like.
Right.
Several things can happen when someone is operating out of toxic jealousy. One, it can ruin your health, your physical health. Because in Proverbs, we look at what happens with jealousy. Proverbs 14:30 talks about how having that peaceful heart, it brings tranquility.
Yes.
And it brings healing. When you have an envious heart, it can actually cause rotten in the bones. Now, I don't know what diseases, I'm not a doctor, but I don't know diseases that can cause rottenness in the bones. But I do know that people that worry, that are deeply over concerned about others, tend to have that deep-rooted depression. And I know depression can cause a lot of problems with blood pressure, weight gain, or even weight loss, either or. So it's not good. That deep-rooted, toxic, unhealthy jealousy is not good.
No.
And it can affect the physical health.
Right.
So we certainly, before this podcast is over, we want to talk about how to get rid of it.
Exactly.
Right.
And it may be some challenges for some, if not for most, but we can get rid of the bad jealousy.
Now, Mom, how does a person know if they are indeed jealous or have like a toxic jealousy? What would be some things that they could self-identify and say, oh my gosh, that would be me?
Here's one of the things you'll know. A person can know if they're experiencing unhealthy jealousy. You can check your own personal thermostat against another person. If when that person walks in the room, if you can't be kind to them, it's hard to be kind. It's like you just can't be kind to them. You know it's wrong, but you can't find anything kind to say
nice
to
to
them.
say.
Mm-hmm.
So usually people make that little stinky face if they don't want to say nothing at all. And if they say something, then it's shady, it's not right.
Yeah.
Another thing, people that tend to have that struggle, they tend to have the arrogant personality when they tower over others or they tower over others. It's very arrogant and very proudful.
Wow.
Because that's a struggle. So a proudful person that's arrogant, that arrogancy is really a struggle. It's not a self-esteem.
Right.
It's a struggle because, again, someone's in the room that they don't like or they feel like has something that they don't have. So they produce an air of arrogancy, towering, overpowering. Sometimes they try and embarrass the person or say
make up lies. I've known people to make up lies. You know,
absolutely.
Nobody has even said anything about certain situations, but you find it, you deem it within yourself to expose certain things about this person that you may know, and then you twist the truth on them.
Yes,
absolutely.
So many. That's one of the things when I'm talking to someone and I pick up, and like you say, you checking the thermostat. You know, our discernment goes out before us when you're a discerning person. And one of the things is I start noticing a person starts talking about someone, they start picking out this and this and that, and they want to expose you to something that you're not even aware of about somebody. Right. My eyes go like,
Absolutely.
You may not even be talking about that person, and they just start talking. That's how you know that's a hater.
That's it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And honestly, ladies, if you listen, sometimes it's good to listen to the hater, then you will know what to pray about. Because usually the person who's hating, if you listen real carefully to what they're saying, usually they're saying how they feel about themselves, about the other person. So if they're calling them stupid, or that they know too much, or they're always talking too much, that you know what they're jealous of. Because sometimes people tend to get jealous of people that they consider to be very intellectual or smart.
Yes, this is true.
And if that person can use big words or can speak well, then a person that's jealous might say something like, you know, I really don't like Kathy because she talks too much. She says too many things.
Right.
But if you listen closely, ladies, you get it. Okay, Kathy obviously have a good speaking voice, or she's a person that knows a lot. And obviously, Cynthia doesn't feel she knows enough to hold a decent conversation with this person. And then, believe it or not, ladies, men get jealous too.
Yes, they do.
Yes, they do.
So jealousy is not, and children as well. Children, the little children even. Honestly, children do it the best. And the reason why, because that is the nature of young toddlers. It's the me, my world. So usually when an adult is operating in jealousy, that's a very immature person.
Yes.
Because that is the nature, that's the true nature of a toddler. They haven't learned to trust. They're still trying to figure out their world. So adults, most of the time that have trust issues, tend to have the toxic jealousy as well. So one overlaps the other. But another thing I wanted to point out too is that
Mom, real fast, a person that's talking about the toxic. So I've also noticed sometimes people that aren't saying mean things, they could be saying nice things, but overly doing it. That to me also is some form of jealousy. That's they're just, oh, Mika, you are absolutely, you are that, you are wonderful, you are great. Be careful of that type of person too, because they're sneaky with it. They're coming a different route. They're not genuine. They don't mean it, but they are jealous. That's still that toxic jealousy.
And they may be overly complimenting. Sometimes people overly compliment you to draw attention to you, so that other people will size you up by that particular compliment, because they're trying to get everything else about you to be overshadowed by what they think of you. And so that is definitely a form of it. I'm glad you pointed that out. Thank you.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Very important. Very important.
I tell you, that toxic jealousy takes on so many forms that the Bible says it can produce any kind of evil. So it's probably more than we can even imagine. We may have seen it and not even recognize it, but the Bible declares that when a person is jealous, it can produce any kind of evil. all
Right.
kinds of evil. In fact, sometimes you may not be able to figure out where the mischief is coming from at first.
Yes.
That's how strange it is. But if you pray, God will show it to you, and then you got to pray about it again to get rid of it.
Yes, because jealous people are sneaky.
Absolutely.
Very sneaky.
Absolutely.
You don't even realize they're jealous of you half the time. It could be a friend, a family member, your husband, your wife. You just don't know. So definitely you need to pray and ask God to show you, because a jealous person, you're not going to know. Not right off bat.
And it also can produce, when mom said, mom or Mrs. Marion, I said mom too. It produces, when she said that evilness. I mean, sometimes people are, when they're jealous of you, they begin to really on the inside, they build this competition that does not even exist.
Yes.
Absolutely.
And you don't even know.
Who are you? Yes, you're really just you're in competition with your own demons, your own spirit.
Now.
That's what you're in competition is, because the other person is not even aware. You know what I'm saying?
Everything.
Bless them, Lord. Go ahead.
They got to beef with their own selves.
Yes.
Absolutely. I don't know if you guys have ever read that book, Rainbow Fish, but
I have.
All of the little fish are jealous. And finally, the little rainbow fish starts giving away some of the glimmer. Honestly, a person that's that immature, that can produce that much evil, the Bible says where evil is, grace is more abundant.
Yes.
So I think the love of God can wipe that out. Sometimes giving a coworker a soda from the refrigerator. Honestly, you can probably get a lot of the evil. They come into the break room and you go, I got a free soda, and I'm going to share it with you. Stop the office gossip. Or they might think in a whole different way and say, I really didn't like Deborah at first, but she really is kind. She gave me a soda in the break room. Think about when you were in middle school, and elementary school, things that worked then, it still works now.
Yes, it does.
Most of the people that are envious, they just want to be where you are.
Yes.
They just want to be where you are. And honestly, as a Christian, we can help them get there.
Yes.
Sometimes they see you driving a new car, buying a new home, even getting a new hairdo. And they're like, oh, that looks so wonderful. I would love to have that. They may not realize they're being sucked into jealousy and envy at first. I think we can help people that struggle with jealousy by showing more love. And sometimes giving them a gift.
That's it.
Little things help big things go away.
Yes.
I think the worst thing that we can do for a person that's struggling is to criticize or point it out.
That's it.
I think it's already going to point itself out because it's a work of the flesh, so it's going to manifest itself. But I think that people that are that immature, they have the most pain. Something's hurting deep within.
Yes.
And they don't know how to overcome. So I think the compassion and the love of God is to find out what it is they envy you for and see if you can help them achieve a goal. They may want to do a podcast, or they may want to go back to school. And if you know how to apply for financial aid, you can say, you know what? I can show you how to apply for financial aid, and you can apply for any school. I can help you. I think when we help our enemies and not be afraid of them and fight them and run from them, we grow too. And so
you said a whole mouth. Full. That is a lot.
I believe in it. I'm the girl that has turned her enemies into her friends.
Yes, she has.
Listen, that right there
alone. I don't want any enemies. I don't want enemies.
Oh my goodness.
That alone
is a podcast within itself. Just that alone, that portion, just saying, because
honestly, guys, I think it's a very foolish person that wants enemies.
Right. That's true.
So I think that we're living in a time people are just really hurting.
Yes.
And nobody has showed them how to even achieve the smallest goal.
That's it.
I've met adults who don't know how to go to college, who don't know how to apply for financial aid. Little things that we can help people achieve will build their self-esteem. But one thing I wanted to point out too, people that are that struggle with jealousy, unhealthy jealousy, they're very irritable and resentful because it makes them feel inadequate. But I think we don't want to spend a whole lot of time on the negative. Let's move to that good, healthy jealousy.
Healthy jealousy.
Yes, yes. Even God is jealous. I know that might blow your mind, but God says his name is jealous. But he's jealous over the people that he loves.
Yes.
Right.
And he loves us all.
Yes.
So I think that as a married woman, especially, you're going to have some healthy jealousy.
Yes.
I don't think there's any married woman out there that would let someone approach her and her husband and give her husband a kiss on the cheek or close to the lips, and that doesn't bother them. As a married woman, you should be jealous.
Right.
You shouldn't be afraid of being jealous of who you love.
That's right.
That doesn't make you insecure.
That's right.
That's how you stay married.
That's right.
People that hide their emotions and feelings, it doesn't work.
That's right.
Very true.
You shouldn't be afraid to express jealousy for the people you love.
Right. And especially for the time. Like, whenever you want, I know that whenever, say, for example, you have a child, a son and a daughter, and the daughter and the mom is going to get nails and different things. And then the son kind of looks back and, I want to go. He has a little healthy jealousy because he loves his mom and he wants to spend time with him. And, a lot of times I believe that healthy jealousy just makes you a better person because it makes you want to do better. It makes you want to express the love for that person that you have the jealousy on. Right? For example, if I go and get, if Erica gets a brand new house and I'm like, wow, she was able to do this and she was able to do that. My goal should be, you know what? I want a brand new house. Erica, can you share with me what it was that you were able to do to get your new house? Maybe I can get some tips and tricks and I can do the same. Maybe I need to work on my credit. Maybe I need to, go to a better bank. Healthy jealousy allows us to make steps that doesn't cause us to be envious, but it causes us to be better. You don't try to one up or compete. You want to do well. Let that their accomplishments encourage you to accomplish things as well.
Right. Level up. Exactly. And that's what it does. That healthy jealousy helps you to level up. Do better.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
And even in relationships, I was going to say, sorry, I didn't mean to cut you off. Even in relationships, that healthy jealousy I think is what keeps you that fire between you and your mate. Because if you don't get jealous over your man, you might need to check if you like your man. You don't get jealous of him. Jealous over him. If you don't, get concerned. Some people say, "Oh, I'm secure. We're not talking about that.
Right.
If you don't get jealous of another woman talking to your man too long, or touching, or him complimenting someone, overly complimenting, you might need to check your feelings for him. Seriously.
Absolutely.
Because that type of jealousy in my mind that you're speaking about, Erica, basically just is a protection jealousy.
That's all.
It's just saying that I'm protecting you.
That's mine.
I was reading a book not long ago where the husband was expressing to men in the book, hey, if your wife gives you a warning about a situation, don't call her crazy. Don't begin to attack her and say you're just jealous and you just need to. No, she is helping you by giving you a warning because she sees possible danger ahead. So if there's possible danger, stop thinking that you're too strong and nobody's going to be able to do it. You ain't got to tell me that I'm strong. I know it. No, listen to your spouse and take that in and say, listen, I appreciate you giving me that heads up. I didn't even recognize it. And even if you did recognize it, acknowledge her jealousy and don't make her feel like she's crazy. And that book was explaining that. It's a good book to read. I might share it with you ladies too.
Certainly.
I agree. I think that you do protect who you love. Yes. And what you love. And certainly I think that when you're in a love relationship, a good man is going to appreciate when you share something that will keep him safe or prevent him from causing harm to himself or his family. And so hopefully all of the married couples are working on having healthy relationships.
That's it.
Because when there's a healthy relationship, that will never be a problem.
Yes.
But again, sometimes there's jealousy between spouses. Sometimes one spouse get a promotion, and if the other spouse is not mature, that can be a problem.
Right.
So jealousy and envy is just a passion that can work in any situation if someone feels that the other person has something that they don't have. I think we have to be careful with when we achieve a lot. I think when God blesses us with a lot, we have to be careful to stay humble.
That's it.
And be careful how we share what he gives us.
That's right.
Because I think that sometimes we can produce jealousy in others that are very immature based on how we share what God has given us.
This is true.
It's one thing to come around someone and say, I've got a brand new home. It's so many stories high and I've got gold walking down the sidewalk. It sounds good. But I think it sounds better for someone to say, you know, God has blessed me with a wonderful home. I give him all the praise for what he has done in my life.
Yes.
Now I have opened the door for a person that's immature to see how to get stuff. Because remember, I said people are jealous because they don't know how to ask or who to ask.
And they don't even know how you got that. The tears you cried, the jobs you worked.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
Exactly. So
and a lot of us go through a lot to get where, because you go through seasons of, you know, there's an abundance coming and blessing. Then you go through a season where you're being pruned and God is being, he's tearing some things off of you and you go through brokenness. And a lot of times behind the scenes, people don't see that. They just see that you have, you know, that you have this and you have that. And so they automatically want to, you know, kind of identify with the blessing, but nobody wants to identify with what you had to go through.
The struggle.
Absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely. Again, and how to help people how to share your blessings where you're not boasting, because boasting is not good.
Right.
But to testify of something good that has happened in your life and to be humble about it, it's okay. Because sometimes we can make immature people jealous because of how we share what God has done, because it's so much, but we don't share it in the right spirit even. And we may not be aware that it's not the right spirit. Because God has called us all to walk humble. And so I look at, I know people that have lots of money, and I know people that don't have a lot of money. But at the same time, having money shouldn't make us act different. Right? It shouldn't make us treat people different.
Right.
So we just have to make sure that we have the attributes of love, like kindness, patience. Even when we meet people that don't have education and they can't find their words, give them time to find their words. Don't try to word feed, because people become uncomfortable.
I thought that was
funny. Word feed.
That's
Have
true.
you been around someone, they try and feed the words to people who they think are uneducated or can't find their words. Right. So now it's a battle. Now someone feels like you're putting them down because you're
intimidation.
Right. Yeah. So it's just little things that we can do to help immature people. But I think the biggest of it is understanding when things are toxic from when things are healthy. Right. Because definitely that toxic jealousy can affect the health.
Yes.
Especially if it leads to a person becoming so angry that they commit murder.
Right.
Very unhealthy. Very unhealthy.
That's when you know you have taken it too far. And
absolutely,
we know this to be true by different stories we hear on the media from time to time, where somebody was killed and it was due to jealousy. That jealousy festered, it grew and grew and grew. And before they knew it, they weren't even rational anymore. Now you're living an irrational life because this jealousy, this made up stuff in your head about this person has caused you to kill somebody.
Yeah. And what about there are so many times whenever I'm ministering to people and I know that it's a jealousy situation, but people have difficulty admitting that they're jealous. And so it's difficult for them to get to the core of certain things and to really be broken before God, because no one wants to admit I'm jealous. But the truth of the matter is all of us deal with some form of jealousy, whether it's unhealthy or healthy. So we need to just stop allowing ourselves to think we're above being jealous, because listen, I recall many times that I have seen situations. Now, me, when I see spiritual fruit in someone, I'm like, gosh, they're so bold. God, I want to be bold like that. Especially when it comes to spiritual. Like if I see someone really going forth in God and they're growing and the word of God is manifesting through them, and they're, they're casting out demons, and I'm just like, that is what is amazing to me. And so I began to check myself and like, well, maybe I need to read my word more. Maybe I need to pray, because I want to be used by God as well. So I know that there are some points and times in my life when I've been jealous because I've seen someone operating under the anointing of God. And I can admit that, but then you have other people that don't want to admit. So what can we say, or what can we do to let people know it's okay
that's actually one of the first steps to overcoming, or not letting your jealousy turn into unhealthy jealousy.
That's it.
You have to first admit what you're jealous. That has to be something that you recognize and can deal with. Why am I jealous of this person? What is it that makes me have these ill feelings towards them? That's the first step in overcoming it.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I think that we have to talk to ourselves too. You have to be your first counselor. I think that even a person that is jealous, they don't feel right. That's why the Bible says it can affect their health. They know something isn't healthy, but they may be embarrassed or ashamed to admit that they're jealous. I think that you have to be a very loving and kind person to have that dialogue with someone that's truly struggling with jealousy. Even if it's against you, I think it requires a lot of prayer and effort on the mature person's part. But most of the time, I wouldn't spend a lot of time trying to analyze a person that's jealous. I would just overcome evil by doing good. Just kind of step back and watch what they're jealous of. If it's your hair, makeup, maybe you can help them by giving them something. A lot of times, remember, it goes back to first grade, middle school. What worked back then still works now. Remember the orange soda in the refrigerator at work? Little things. You take a deep breath, step back. You don't have to be as articulate as you think you need to be in psychology. Kindness. If you're kind to someone that don't like you, that will break them. They will find some patience for you, I promise.
They will. You know what? I have learned that, Mom. Just compliment, even when you don't want to, because God knows I have been there. Complimenting them, a person you know doesn't like you, a person you know can't stand you, simply saying, girl, you wearing them shoes today. They are the most busted things you have ever seen in your entire life. But giving someone a compliment kind of eases that blunt, and they look at you differently. Because I think when someone's jealous of you, they put you way up there.
Yes.
And somehow they think that you are you're so above them. In their minds, they think that. So complimenting brings you back down to, okay, maybe she's not who I thought she was. I have done it. I've been there.
I agree. You ladies are so beautiful and so smart.
Aww,
honestly, that's exactly how it goes, because God has strategically placed you all on this podcast. He's placed you all to talk about things that people need to hear about. There's somebody right now hurting because they are jealous of someone, but now when they hear this podcast, they're going to get healed. They're going to realize that, okay, jealousy is a passion. Some of it's good, some of it's not, but I can overcome this. And so the person that's the most mature understands what he or she needs to do. You need to go and love that person. Find a way to show some genuine kindness. That will erase a lot of that ill will, because a person that struggles with jealousy tends to not be able to be peaceful towards us. They're not going to speak well of you. But it's hard to speak ill against someone that's genuinely being kind.
That's right.
They won't win. Sooner or later, they're going to start sharing with you why they're so mean. Yes. And they'll tell you the truth. They'll say, Tameka or Erica,
when I had childhood or something,
because of this and that, but I found you to be a real person. Now, you've been a real person all along.
Right.
Right. You've been real all along. but you have helped our little friend to grow a little, to grow up and become mature. And you know what they will do? They will remember. And when they meet someone, when in their time, when they're experiencing that ill will, they'll be, you know, I used to be like her. I'm going to give her the orange soda out of the refrigerator.
Yes.
Right.
They'll be kind. They'll remember to be kind.
Right.
Yes, it
and
works.
You know what? When we go back to overcoming. So, Mom, you have given great points for the person who is experiencing dealing with someone who's jealous of them, how to overcome that. Now, internally, how you do it is keep your feelings in check. Number one, identify what it is about this person that is causing you to have these ill feelings, to want to do bad things to them. You have to deal with it. So it may be, you know what, I'm not married and her husband treats her well and I want a husband like that. Well, this is how you can overcome that, girl. Look at yourself. Figure out what it is, the woman you want and the man you want to attract, and you become her. Right. But don't covet, don't be jealous over someone else's husband, because God's not going to bless you with a husband because you're trying to either be with her husband or you are jealous of her and her husband. But literally doing a self-check. Like Mom said, checking your self-thermometer, keeping your feelings in check and dealing with them will help you to keep that jealousy at bay. We have to be able to separate the irrational feelings from the rational.
That's
okay?
Absolutely.
You're not going to get that man. He's married to somebody else, okay?
Absolutely.
So don't try to outdo her. Don't
Absolutely.
try to be the most. No, stay in your lane. Become a better woman yourself. Or if this person has a better job than you, go back to school, get your degree, work on you, develop whatever it is inside of you that you need to get to that higher place.
Absolutely. And ladies, I did want to share this with you because this may be something that somebody out there may experience. But it's okay if you sense that, let's say, for example, you sense that there's another woman that's envying the relationship that you have. And it could even be someone you consider to be a friend. Ooh. And if you see inappropriate behavior, it's okay to go to that person and talk to them in a nice way and explain to them that they did something the other day that you didn't like or you felt was inappropriate.
Mom is so nice.
I think that's the aisle every woman needs to feel free to cross over. Don't have pride and say, oh, I'm not going to say anything to her because I know that she could never get my man. It's not about her getting your man. She just disrespected you.
Exactly.
If she's your friend, if she says that she's your friend, then that's a conversation you need to have. And give her a chance to explain. Maybe she might have done something that she was unaware of. But you need to have the conversation, because if not, that could actually become a problem.
Yeah.
So people that struggle with jealousy do need some type of intervention. You can't just let them run wild and go, okay, I'll keep giving you cookies out of my cookie jar. No. You're not getting the orange soda.
Bring it on in.
You're not getting the orange soda out of the refrigerator today. We're going to have to talk about some of these things that you have done on the job that's very inappropriate, like throwing pencils and spitballs across the room. We're going to have to talk about it. So people that struggle with envy and jealousy, at some point in time, they don't always
check them.
You have
Mom is saying.
Yes, because if you don't, it can lead to murder. So it depends on the level of jealousy. It depends on what you see them doing, how you will deal with the jealousy. And children, you deal with children different from adults. Right. But we're talking about adults. And usually, like you said, Erica and Temeka, relationships. You're going to see the jealousy when there's relationships. So, like Erica said earlier, if there's a healthy marriage, quite naturally, someone that's in a toxic relationship, they're going to envy that beautiful relationship across the way.
Right.
I've even noticed, I've even had heard women, they will see a beautiful marriage, and because they can't pinpoint something within that marriage, they automatically label it as fake.
Right.
Oh, it's fake. They fake. They're not real. They're not showing. There's nobody that never go anything. And I sit back and I listen and I'm like, what makes it fake? Because you don't know about their marriage. That's what a marriage is. It's sacred. It's holy. It's not for you to know what's going on in their household. That nobody is obligated to air out their laundry before you. No one is obligated to show you what goes on behind closed doors. And because you may have had an experience of witnessing someone else's relationship be fake, doesn't mean that what God is joined together, that everybody else's situation is fake. You know, so I've actually seen ladies, and I pray for them. I really intercede, because I say, you don't even have an understanding of this marriage, but you've already just in the situation that I've seen it, they cast a bad light on that person's marriage simply because they just assumed it was fake because they don't know anything about their relationship.
Yes, and not only that, Mika, because they themselves have been in so many toxic relationships and their man didn't love them and treat them right, that becomes their norm. So then when they see someone else treating their wife with respect and love, oh, that can't be real. They're fake. They must be. I just have a good marriage. I just have a great relationship.
And good relationships does exist. It doesn't mean you're without problems. No. What makes it good is that you work through the problems.
Right. In a healthy way.
Yes.
Absolutely.
That's what makes it good. So listen, I want to ask of a healthy jealousy. What's now between girlfriends, sister and sister, when you have a healthy jealousy, because women as women, we're catty sometimes.
Yes, we are.
You know how women can be. So what advice would you give to women who are good friends and being good friends, and you know that there's some jealousy there, and you know that it's possibly healthy in the beginning, but you don't want it to go toxic? So is that a time, because we were talking about previous conversations, is that a time to have a conversation with your friend or someone that you feel that this is happening to, so that you can nip things in the bud? Or is that a time for you to just don't say anything? It's just a little bit of jealousy. It's not big yet. It's just a little. So should that be addressed?
I think I would stick to what I said earlier, especially if you're friends and you know each other. I think that you can gauge it by what your friend is doing. You can pick up on it and go, well, I think she's getting a little jealous or what have you. But because you know this person, Temeka, you can kind of figure out what they're jealous of. Maybe you got a new promotion on the job and they didn't. Or maybe you got married and you both were single and they're still single. But I think that it goes back to what I said earlier. The responsibility would be on that mature one who notices that someone is jealous. I think that if you're flowing in a relationship, you can track what changed and what was different, what was your upward mobility versus what they didn't get that you got. I think you can carry them by going to them and saying, I know that you wanted the promotion. We both worked on the job. We both worked really hard. I even prayed for you to get the promotion over me. Honestly, I'm not sure why the boss picked me. I don't think I'm the better candidate, but I will go back and talk to the boss and see what I can do to help you get promoted, because I know that I wanted it just as bad for you as I know you wanted it for me. It's a real friend.
Yes.
Wow.
Right. I think I've had relationships and topics like that with colleagues. When I first graduated from Savannah State College many years ago, my girlfriend and I, we both graduated, and there was one job that was in Beaufort, South Carolina, and we both applied for the same job. We were in church that Sunday morning, and I told my friend Margaret, I said, did you see that job in the paper? She said, yeah, girl, I applied for it. I said, I applied for it too. She said, well, if you get it, I'll be happy for you. I said, if you get it, I'll be happy for you.
Look at that.
Right. How about she gets the job? And I'm happy for her. Honestly, sincerely happy. She gets the job. And then when she gets the job, she brings me on.
Hey, look at that. That's a real
she finds a way to bring me in there. Not to work, but as she had hosted some type of gathering where she needed a judge. Because she worked with these young children, young women, unwed mothers. So she had hosted some type of food event, and we were both nutritionists at the time. So she brought me in as a judge. But to this day, I don't remember feeling regretful, because I think when your heart is right with your friends, even if you both were going after the same thing and someone else got elevated, you should see it as another level up, because at least you have a friend that got elevated.
Yes.
And someone you know that's been elevated.
Yes.
They may be your step up.
Come on.
So it's how we think.
That's it.
We have to learn to think healthy.
Yes.
Right.
And whenever God blesses your friend to be elevated, remain friends, because that might be your step up.
That's it.
Anger rests in the bosom of fools.
It does.
That's it. Amen.
Wise people see different. We know love is wisdom.
Right.
A lot of people have gotten their greatest breakthrough from people that they thought that they would not even like.
Right.
But becoming more mature and working with each other, things happen. Before you know it, you got a friend that's in Hollywood that started off on a podcast, but that's your friend. You can call them. Hi, girl. How's it going in Hollywood? They may say, you know what? They're looking for a new person to come on the show. Would you be interested? Yes, girl.
Yeah.
You know I would. Absolutely. Do you know God blesses us to be a blessing?
Yes.
And we never know how he's going to bless our friends, our family. But if we stay connected, when that happens, God himself will elevate us as well.
Yep.
That's right.
It's always a blessing to be around people that are blessed.
Yes.
And it's always a blessing to be happy for others. And one more thing I want to say, because I know I talk a lot.
No, you're fine.
If you really want to overcome that ill will towards someone who you feel just got so much or is doing so well, learn to be happy for them. You need to be so happy for others. Practice being happy. If somebody say, hey girl, I just got promoted on the job. Yes, I'm so happy for you. Even if you say it, it'll release energy.
That's it.
And I promise you, if you're genuinely sincere and you're happy for others, good things will happen for you.
Yes.
If you learn to be happy for others, I promise you, ladies, if you practice being happy for others, I promise you, next week this time will be your time.
That's
good things will happen for you.
Yes.
The season
and it's been a joy being on this show with you guys.
Yay! We're so happy to have you. And this was just an amazing podcast, because Erica and I, when we first started discussing having a podcast, one of the things that I really, really wanted to make sure that we integrated into this podcast was being able to talk about Jesus.
Yes, exactly.
And being able to talk about inner healing, and being able to talk about, there's so many shows and so many avenues where everybody is empowering women, but on top of your empowerment, you need to be healed. That inner healing is going to produce you to empower others, because you're not doing it out of a broken and contrite spirit, because now that spirit is healed, and so you can help others healed. And so that's the purpose that we want to bring topics to this show, so that you can be healed. Right, Erica?
Yes. Listen, we bring the tea that's going to bless your soul.
Yes.
Warm your hearts.
Yes.
Look, and give you that info. Okay.
Yes. Information.
That good tea.
That's it. And so we thank you, Mrs. Marion. I was about to say Dr. Marion. Maybe that's
coming soon. Listen.
Coming soon.
Coming soon.
It was literally on the tip of my tongue, Dr. Marion.
You already spoke it, because it's coming soon.
Oh.
How much longer, Mom?
Just one more year, not quite a year.
Awesome. See?
Yeah. So we will be calling her Dr. Marion, okay?
That is so amazing, and blessings to you. And we will be praying for you as you continue your journey.
Thank you so much.
With you. Absolutely. And you can stop by the show anytime. We'd love to have you.
Absolutely. Yes. Well, I enjoy the show, and you guys do it so well.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Well, Erica, did you want to close us out? You have any final words?
Well, I feel like this was such a great topic. Definitely something that needs to be discussed, not only for us to distinguish between healthy and unhealthy, but for those that are experiencing that person being jealous of them, how to work with them, how to bring them up to where you are and cancel it out completely. So we thank you guys for tuning in. Stay tuned. More episodes coming. We're going to keep you guys involved. We're going to be bringing topics for healing, insight.
Yes.
A little bit of everything. Listen, we are not limiting ourselves at all.
We're not.
At all. Mom, thank you so much for coming on. Everything you said was awesome, amazing. You brought us your insight, your knowledge, and we are grateful. You all have a great day.
Thank you all for having me.
You're welcome. And look, we thank you for even, because we know it's very late in Korea.
Yes.
So we just appreciate your love and dedication to even be here with us at the hour that you're at in Korea. So we thank you so much for that. And I also want to say one last thing. I want to encourage parents to make sure you work with your children. As Dr. Marion said, work with your children. When you start to notice little signs, little bit here and there of jealousy, that grows into sibling rivalry later on in life. And so I've seen many brothers and sisters can't get along because they're still jealous as adults. So just as Dr. Marion said, take in these tips, take in this information and start working on parenting your children, even when you see little jealous acts, whether it's healthy or unhealthy. Encourage them to understand the difference so that they can handle these types of conflicts as adults.
Very
absolutely.
Important.
Absolutely.
Great point, Mika.
Absolutely.
Exactly.
I agree.
All right. Well, if we don't have anything else to say, we thank you so much for tuning in. Make sure you share, comment, and like our page. Go over to ClassEandTee. We are now on YouTube.
Yes.
We are on iTunes, Spotify, SoundCloud, Buzzsprout. Listen, if it's a podcast platform, we are probably there. We have uploads, right? We have uploads every Tuesday at 10 a.m. And sometimes if you're really, really a fan of ours, you'll notice that those uploads probably go up a smidgen time a little earlier, and you'll be able to catch a zap of a dose of ClassEandTee a little early. So we encourage you to make sure that you are signed in and subscribed to our platform so you know exactly when we release content. We thank you so much for watching and listening, and we ask you to have a fabulous day.
Bye-bye, everyone.
Bye-bye. Take care, guys. Bye-bye.
Bye.